And so the length, a side length of the base is 18.2. And it said it's a square base, so that means that the other length is 18.2 as well. And the height, if I draw the height downwards, right, that height is 15.3. And so the volume is just length times width times height divided by 3. And so we have 18.2 times 18.2 times 15.3, all divided by 3. And that's something we can just put in our calculator. 18.2 times 18.2 is the same thing as 18.2 squared times, if you want to write it all out in a calculator, you can, times 15.3. And then we're going to divide that all by 3. And we'll get our volume to be 1,689. And then rounding to the nearest tenth, the first decimal place, we're going to round down to 3. So 1,689.3. And then we have cubic feet. So if you could type it in your calculator, it should be good. All right. Find the volume of a pyramid with a square base where the area of the base is 8.3 meters square meters and the height of the pyramid is 6.3 meters. Round your answer to the nearest tenth of a cubic meter. Now here's one where how well can I draw these? Not very well, but that's okay. There's our pyramid. The area of the base, so the square, the area of the square is 8.3 squared meters, and then the height down is 6.3 meters. So remember we had that other, also did I write, okay, no, we're good. We had that other formula where we had the base times the height divided by 3 was also the area, right? Because if we have this area, that is really the length times width. So the base is length times width. We've just replaced it. And so we know the base is 8.3 and the height is 6.3. Then we divide it by 3. And again, a calculator will help us do that. 8.3 times 6.3. And then divide it by 3. And we'll get 17.4 if I'm rounding to the nearest tenth. So V, and then we're in cubic meters. Right. So on this one, again, just like the other ones, it's important to pay attention to what they gave to you, right? Did they give you a radius or a diameter? In this case, did they give you a side length or did they give you an area? In the other ones, they could have given you the circumference of a circle, right? But you needed the radius. But we have all of these formulas and equations where we can plug things back into to find what we actually need. You just need to be careful with what they actually give you. We have one last one. Find the volume of a pyramid with a square base where the perimeter of the base is 10.3 meters and the height of a pyramid is 15.1 meters. Round your answer to the nearest tenth of a cubic meter. So we have this weird thing here. So the perimeter of the base is 10.3 meters. So that means all of these sides, right, if this is the base of our pyramid, all of these sides of this square add up to be 10.3. So the perimeter is 10.3. So that means that each side, right, because it's a square, each side is the same size. So 4 of these added up equals 10.3. So to get a side, right, to get a side, we should do 10.3 and we should divide it by 4. Right? If 4 of these sides added up makes 10.3, but we just want what the length of a side is, right, divide it by 4. So if we go here, 10.3 divided by 4. Hello? Calculator? Did it freeze up? Well, let me reopen it real quick. There we go, 10.3 divided by 4. 2.575. So when we go back here, we have our side length is 2.575. So when we go to find the volume equals length times width times height divided by 3, or the base area times the height, whichever one you want to do. Well, the length and the width are the same because they're a square, so we have 2.575 times 2.575 times the height, which it gave us was 15.1. And then we have to divide that all by 3. So I'm going to take 2.575, and instead of timesing it by myself, I'm just going to square it. It's the same thing, right? Because that's what squared means. And then we're going to times it by 15.1, and then take that number and divide it all by 3. So 33.4. This time I would round up to the nearest tens place because this 7 rounds up this 3 to a 4. So 33.4. And then this was in cubic meters.